Hello and welcome, KSU campers. It's so great to have you here. I'm so honored and grateful and inspired, frankly, that you have selected Hands of Gratitude to participate for your summer camp. I know it's certainly unusual circumstances, but nonetheless, the people that are in need remain that way. So you choosing to help today is awesome. And so I really want to thank you for that. So my name is Matt Campana. I'm the founder of Hands of Gratitude. And what I'd like to do is just for a few minutes, just kind of introduce you to the program and kind of how it got here and some of the past recipient stories, and then introduce some of the folks that are next up to receive devices. So my background is not in prosthetics. It is in corporate training and development. And I have in the past created several give back activities. And about 4 years ago, I wanted to create a medical based give back activity and had no idea what I wanted to do and was just doing research online. And I came across a video of a 3D printed prosthetic hand and just thought it was amazing to learn that we can now print appendages for people. So with a lot of work and effort, we've created the program around that technology and put together these kits that are in front of you now. So what's amazing about this is that it couldn't have existed much more than 4 years ago. That was kind of the point where the technology was made available to create these appendages. They've changed quite a bit in 4 years. So we have several different models now that we're working with. The ones that you're building are suitable for people with a lot of people with birth defects, amniotic band syndrome, things like that. So it's kind of a common birth defect that the device you have is suitable to be a solution for that. So that's the background. It's I'll go through some slides here. It's one thing to say that we're going to have this vision to build these hands and ship them all over the world. It's quite another to actually do that. So we've worked really hard over the last couple of years to establish partnerships around the world to help us distribute these devices. So all they do is source their communities to find recipients, and then we work with them. The first up here is Guala, and they are a partner of ours located in Honduras, servicing Central America. And they're a group of energetic young folks that with skills sets that range from electrical engineers to physical therapists. So they are an incredible partner down there in Central America, and we've sent hundreds of devices to them. I've made multiple trips down to Honduras to distribute these devices and meet with the recipients and things like that. In the middle of that picture there is Justine, who I'll talk about a little more later on, but he's a recent recipient. So that's Guala. The Association of Indian Physicians of the Northeast is a fairly new partner, and they're a group of about 300 doctors that are of Indian origin that want to do the best they can to find prosthetics for recipients in need in India, which is an amazing amount of people that are in need in India. In fact, just before the COVID went down, they were the Association of Indian Physicians. They were in India, and they had doing a series of clinics where they were, over the course of 3 days, they were going to see 6,000 people. I mean, in fact, they did that. They saw roughly 6,000 people in 3 days. They identified at that point 40 to 50 that needed prosthetic devices that we can specifically help with. So a large amount of our prosthetics going forward are going to be sent to India with the doctors here. So that's a great group. One World Surgery is in Central America, Dominican Republic, and Haiti. And they are a group of about 2,500 doctors who provide pro bono free surgery to people in need in those areas. So same thing, if they come across someone in need that can't source their prosthetic device the traditional ways or just don't have the funds to do that, then they reach out to us and we provide them with devices. So we shipped hundreds of devices to One World Surgery. The Enable community is, we kind of work with them a couple different ways. They're a group of about 6,000 volunteers that have access to 3D printers. So if I work with a few of the chapters on the front end to have them print the devices for me, and then I purchase all the materials from them. It just comes in bags, pieces, parts, bags, things like that, and then we count it out, itemize them, put them in the color-coded bags, things like that. But they do some printing for us on the front end, and then there are some power chapters on the back end that can help us with finding recipients. We did a program in Ireland, and I reached out to the Enable chapter there in Dublin, and they found a little boy named Connor that we were able to get a device for right there in Ireland. So work with them a couple different ways. We've sourced since 2016. It's over I don't have the exact number, but it's over 2,000 hands that we've shipped to people around the world. So it really is making a tremendous difference. And again, I'm so grateful for your assistance with this. One other partner that I should mention are the recipients themselves. Several of them have really become ambassadors to the program. And so we send devices to some of the ambassador recipients who help us find new recipients. So they've been very, very helpful in that regard. Going forward, when I don't need a prosthetic. I have all my fingers. I didn't even know anyone with a prosthetic. So when I was doing the research, I was really it was unbelievable to learn the need globally. As you can see on the screen, vascular disease, things like diabetes and trauma and cancer and things like that. We're aware of those things. A couple million amputations in the United States alone. And then multiply that by the world. So just that particular piece requires quite a number of prosthetics. Accidents. Yeah, I was unaware of that when I was traveling to Central America, and just to kind of see these life in a developing country is so different. They don't have access to proper medical care. One, their electrical grid is in shambles. So things like that we take for granted, like street lights, aren't always working down there. In fact, electrical accidents are the number one contributor to the loss of limb in Honduras and throughout Central America. So accidents, all day, every day, there are accidents. Landmines, we are certainly blessed to live in a country where we don't have to worry about landmines. Places like Cambodia, where there are landmines, and agriculture is their key, and they have to farm fields where there could be landmines. It's just a tragic thing where the result is 300,000 roughly landmine-related amputations every year. Birth defects, 1,500 to 2,000 birth defects just in the United States. Multiply that by the world, and you see that it's quite a number of devices. The cost of a prosthetic device is really prohibitive. $3,000 to $10,000 for the entry level prosthetic device. My neighbor just started something, so I'm going to move inside here. So roughly $3,000 to $10,000 for a prosthetic device, and if you're living on $1 a day in a developing country, that's just simply, it's not attainable. So these devices being donated at no cost, that are functional, that get them to where they need to go is a beautiful thing. One thing to focus on throughout the build is just the gratitude and the empathy, trying to put yourself in the position of some of these recipients, and then certainly realizing how blessed we all are to have everything that we have, like electricity, just simple things like that. So take some time, throughout this process to focus on gratitude. I think you'll get a lot out of that. Just going to go through some recent recipients here that we've impacted recently. Little Fabian here, he just turned 6 actually. He missing a limb due to a birth defect. Just a little pistol of a kid, always active and running around. We met with him and his family. We took his measurements. He was so small that he required kind of a customized device that was funded through our clients. But they were really just overwhelmed with emotion to at this point, this very moment when I took that picture, was them realizing that Fabian was going to receive a hand. And so this is him with his device. He was kind of bullied for quite a while. Now that he got his hand, he has his own little posse of people that follow him around who've nicknamed him the Hulk. We learned that he keeps his prosthetic in a little treasure chest right by his bed, so he always knows where it is in the morning. So Fabian's a great little kid. Juan David, we met him and his family down there in San Pedro Sula, Honduras. He was a victim of an electrical accident. His job was to climb telephone poles or electrical poles and reroute wires from people that were using the electricity illegally. So they were poaching the electricity and he had to rewire it. Well, he had an accident, lost one arm right below the shoulder, one arm below the elbow, and we learned that he kind of found therapy through gardening. So when we got him his prosthetic, he was able to open up his own little garden center and is really an inspiration to the community. He now employs his family, his extended family, and is just an inspiration and always with a smile on his face. His daughter, little Maya, just wanted to hold Daddy's hand again, so she was able to do that too. Christian was a welding accident, so he lost one arm below the shoulder, one arm below the elbow, and when we got him his prosthetic, he's able to open up his own little shoe store that his brother now works with him. So I took some video of Christian operating the device, which again does not require any surgery. It's all muscle driven, so if you can flex your muscle in your arm, you can operate the device. So Christian does a great job of servicing his customers and able to get the shoes off and on the rack. And he also was just a really inspiring kid who is also one of the ambassadors that I mentioned that we send devices to. This is Justine, who was, I mentioned at the front. He had a tragic accident. He was visiting his father's workplace, was fiddling with equipment and lost his hand in one of the machinery at his dad's office. His father was fired for negligence, hospitalized for depression, and Justine really kind of kept the family together. And when we got him his device, you could just tell it was a real moment of healing for the entire family. This is Justine reading through the cards that were sent to him. So you will write cards, and it matters. It's really impactful. He spent a good half hour reading these cards before he even put his prosthetic on. So it was really, really impactful and meaningful. Jennifer lost her hand in an accident. She was inspiring to me because she decided that after her accident, she wanted to become a nurse. And so she's in school now to become a nurse. She will certainly be able to relate to her patients in a way that a lot of doctors and nurses aren't able to. But she received her device. She wouldn't stop looking at it. I mean, she was able to use it right away. Just brushing the hair away from her face. This is about a 45-pound backpack that she's able to pick up, right out of the bag. She's able to strap it on and make that work. So Jennifer was all smiles the whole time too. So more recent recipients. This is Roddy. Yeah, these devices often are sent to schools, and they're used for educational purposes to introduce kids about this technology that a lot of them are not aware of. A lot of them have relatives that are in need. So just introducing this technology to the schools, we're able to find recipients. This particular school had Roddy, who was in need. So he was able to receive his device, but the rest of his classmates there learning about the program and reading some cards and things like that. Just some more recipients that just recently have received these devices, most of them in Central America. This is Grace. We met Grace at Camp Fitch. I don't know if any of you are aware of Camp Fitch, but we did a program up there and we didn't know Grace was going to be there. And she is had a birth defect on her left hand. And she, after my presentation, she stood up and said the following, which I'll show here in a second. But one of her camper partners kind of took the video under the table, so it's a little shaky, but nonetheless you can tell what Grace had to say.
Everything, from class to class and place to place, your coffee cups, your everything, and dropping them because you only have one hand. These are all things that I've had to grow up with, and everything because I only have one hand. And it really makes my heart happy to know that people like you guys are caring for others with disabilities, because I've never been treated in such a kind way as today, and it makes me so happy to see that people actually do care about others with disabilities. Thank you.
So that's Grace, and that pretty much says it all. You know, she has received 2 devices now from us, and she's goes to Slippery Rock College, and she is an ambassador and speaks on behalf of Hands of Gratitude, comes to some of our events. So who knows, maybe you'll meet Grace somewhere down the line. But some of the new recipients that you will be directly impacting, Elian, we just learned about her before the COVID thing went down. So she's 9, congenital condition, and she will be the recipient of a new device. Her favorite character is Sophia the First. So if you know her and want to design a bag related to that, you certainly can. Matthew, we just learned about Matthew. He's down in Bluffton, South Carolina, and we sent him a sample, and he was so excited he took it right to school and showed everybody what he soon will be receiving. So one of the devices here will be going to Matthew, who is 14 years old. Yadav is a new recipient from the Indian Physicians. So he's in Bangalore, and he just couldn't even believe this technology exists. So he lost his hand and thought that was it. Didn't believe that there was any way for him to replace his device. So to learn that the technology exists and that he was discovered, he's really excited to receive his device. So that's Yadav. Little Parker, also down in South Carolina. He'll be our youngest recipient to date. He's 3, birth defect on his left hand, and just a real little cutie here. So Parker will be receiving a device here soon. So those are some of your recipients. Work hard together. That's the only way you're going to accomplish this task, is by working together. There's 4 components: building the device, decorating the bag, this gray zipper bag that the hand goes in, record a 30-second video. Just you can address that to any of the recipients. You can keep it general, but you can just take 30 seconds to share your thoughts, what you might be feeling, and just a general introduction, and what it meant to you. You know, so you can do that, and then we'll provide information of where to upload that video. These are the assembly instructions. You're going to get more detailed information about this, of where to go to find the instructions. And then at the end, I kind of want to show you one more video that shows the benefactors and what happens. Every time a recipient receives a device, there's a medical professional there. They do additional tweaks and sizing and padding if needed and things like that. So this is a little boy that we sent a device to in Malaysia, so you can kind of see what happens and pay particular attention to his classmates and how they respond to the new device and the body language and all that. So. So I just love that, the inclusion, the immediate acceptance. It's all just a beautiful, wonderful thing. So again, thank you so much for your participation. You'll have information to reach out to me if you run into any snags, and I can talk you through it and coach you through it. But again, thank you so much, and have a great time. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you.